Ferrari.
No, he's at Audi. All right, welcome to another episode of F1 Fanatics. We're going to start back with the shit show at Ferrari. So Ferrari's having a lot of troubles. It didn't started with their concept design for last year, and as far as I'm concerned, bringing in Hamilton instead of keeping what's his name? Sainz, who had a good relationship with the engineers. So right now, there's a mass exodus of engineers. I know they lost Binotto last year to Audi, and now they're losing Wolf Zimmerman and Lars Schmidt. These are the guys who are working on the hybrid power engine or the hybrid power systems for next year. This is a big loss for them. Right now, Ferrari is considered to have the most powerful engine on the grid. But that being said, they're struggling for next year's integration with the engine, and they're having a lot of technical problems. And it's rumored that they're behind Mercedes in the development of the engine next year. And to lose these two guys that have been working on this, that are specialists in this, is a big loss for Ferrari. And they're going to be going to Audi with Binotto. This is basically how F1 works. One big person goes and becomes the technical director for another team, and then he brings people from the team. Same thing. Red Bull lost a lot of guys to McLaren, and McLaren benefited, especially Rob Marshall. So what you're seeing is that other teams will get more competitive, and that's the problem when your team does well. When your team does well and engineers do well, they go elsewhere. It also happened to Mercedes, but this is especially troubling for Ferrari because not only are they losing Zimmerman, Schmidt, they're also losing a guy called Jacques Clear, chief performance engineer, and they're losing their several of their top aerodynamicists too. And this mass exodus, it seems like it's more than just, the flow of people leaving teams. It seems like people are there's a problem at Ferrari. And there are rumors in the background that Lewis Hamilton said that he had very bad exchanges with some of the engineers and it got racial. Nobody would tell us the rumors. And this might be what Lewis Hamilton was saying. There's a lot of things in the background. I wish I could talk. So there's a whistleblower who says he's going to release emails that shows that there was racism in the team, that they may this has happened before. Remember when Hamilton was at Mercedes and somebody was a whistleblower for information about how they thought there was remember that, Kool-Aid? Last year there were rumors that someone had emails that showed that Mercedes was favoring George Miller. So this sounds like it might be whoever this whistleblower is, and it might even be Hamilton. But whoever it is, it seems like they're favorable to Hamilton. But my thing is that I don't think somebody said something racist to Hamilton. But what I do think is, because of the cultural difference and everything of him coming in and have a T and his main engineer leaving and him saying to the team, why aren't you talking to me over the radio that time when you apologized to the team? I believe there was friction in there, and that might be why a lot of guys are leaving. Because a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it Villeneuve or someone else said that 90% of the team did not want Hamilton to come in, not because of his color but because they had a special relationship with Sainz, and they felt that this would ruin the team. So maybe that was the last straw, especially with the team not doing well anyway. Maybe these engineers are like, I'm out of here, because maybe they see the handwriting on the wall. That team has so many fucked up problems. I think part of it is their owners. They're putting profit over performance. Once again, I know everybody loves Hamilton, but that was the first to bring Hamilton in with all that money and all of that fanfare, and then to change 99% of the car to try to please him and have a crappy year, and then to give him power to like sending memos to the team telling them this is what you need to do. Maybe some people see that this team is not functioning properly and they're just leaving. What are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, when I just think about it, Ferrari, they're not as like engineer as in they're not engineers like before. They were really tweakers and even though they were not like as good as Mercedes and so on, but they were still engineers there. And the Ferrari has lost a lot of engineers. I mean, there's nothing, no, in the last 10 years, no marvel. We haven't heard anything great about the Ferrari engine or Ferrari aerodynamic. Nothing. We only hear from Mercedes. We hear from McLaren, but Ferrari hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I think that in 2022, or was it 22, they had the fastest car, but they just kept on. They lost to Verstappen because the team was fucked up. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, because of pit stop.
That was probably the last. That's the last thing we heard from Ferrari's engineer Marvel, but that was it. And
Yeah.
talking about now that is causing problems in Ferrari. Then comes in Lewis Hamilton comes in. Now for anything for one thing, when a black man argues with a white man, it's always
Especially with
racist.
Italians, and not only is he black, he's British
Exactly,
and black. Yeah, and the Italians are special
uh-huh.
about their language and their
In
culture.
Bruce and Black,
Yeah,
here we go. There's a lot of history there. Yeah,
yeah,
and and the Italians there themselves, they don't even know how to argue with a black man too. Again, too, so to become one kind too. It's just funny like that.
anyway,
So
they're having flashbacks
Hamilton
to the
just always
Moors.
play the race card.
Kule will
To
get
the
the
more
joke.
exactly,
Yeah,
PTSD. You know, yeah.
We
So
know why.
Hamilton would always play. Yeah. He'll play the race card, and like he'll go. I know why. I know why
We know
you treating me
why.
like this. I know why. It's because
yeah. And
so
I was saying this
so
before. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So I mean that's where I see it, And Ferrari. I mean I see everything. I mean bleak and the future. I don't see anything good happening there.
Nah.
That
Let me
bright
tell you.
red is going to turn dull red.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Nothing.
They're gonna be fighting for fifth position next season. I even think Red Bull will do better because even though Red Bull lost its some of his engineers and stuff, Max Verstappen himself is methodical with setups, and it seems like the team is stable now with Lauren McHugh. Ferrari has too much going on, and then you're looking at Red Bull Junior sister team doing better. You're looking at Aston Martin. You're looking at the top runners next year will be McLaren and Mercedes for sure because they both have the same engine and power unit, and McLaren by far has the best engineers. So Ferrari has fallen, and if Hamilton thought that he was going to come to Ferrari and win a championship, it doesn't look likely anymore because you can't. The margins are too fine in F1. You can't have disharmony on your team at this level and have problems You have problems with the drivers. What's his name is not happy either. What's his name? He's talking about leaving. They're talking about in 2 years. Believe this or not, there's rumors that Oscar Piastri will be coming to Ferrari in 2 or 3 years to replace Hamilton. Yeah,
Hamilton.
or Leclerc, one of the two. And that goes also. That's another story, but that goes to show you that Oscar Piastri knows the writings on the wall at McLaren too, that they don't value who he is. But that's a story for another day. So you've got problems with the culture at Ferrari. You've got problems with the engine for next year, and then the guys who are doing the engine are leaving. Aerodynamicists are leaving. So Hamilton got his wish. He's the man at Ferrari, but it's like becoming the president of what's the poorest country in Haiti? Now you're the king of the throne in Haiti, but you don't even have electricity and water. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. If Hamilton should have thought wisely about where he was going to go. Maybe he should have
become the president of Liberia.
McLaren wouldn't have taken Hamilton because they know that exactly Hamilton is disruptive. They want two toy soldiers, Piastri and what's his name, Norris. Those guys are compliant. There's no way. Could you imagine Hamilton and Zach Brown on the same team? That would be ugly. You get my point. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Kunle's drinking his tea saying, when am I going to talk? No, Kunle said, you guys have a tea while you're at it.
I'm going to have to stubbornly defend Ferrari because I bought this shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say, first off, this spate of exodus of engineers and technicians from Ferrari. Ferrari has a big name. It has a big history and background. And therefore, I do believe resource. Now, it's correct. This team has been showing a lot of lack of organization. Now, a lot of teams in competitive sport, when they do badly, when they're doing so badly like this, and they have these kind of problems, the first thing you want to do is what? A clear out. You want to clear out the dead wood and then start anew and start bringing in new set of people.
I agree, but those guys are not the guys that they're losing are not dead win. These guys are people who work on this project and are very valuable.
Well, the reason again, we are also entering a new era next season of a new type of new rules and so on and so forth. So some of the people of today may not be as good as the people of tomorrow.
Well, here's the thing. They're working on that engine.
So yes, and then there may be also other up and coming people with talent and ability in Ferrari.
It's a problem of familiarity. These guys that are leaving are the two guys who've been working on this engine for thousands of hours for maybe 2 years now. And there are problems with the engine already. And only they who have enough knowledge of the engine have any half of a chance of solving it. Now that you bring somebody else in at the end, they have to wait to the end of this year to bring somebody else in, and they're going to be starting with something they don't know. You can't start from scratch in 2026 for 2026. You're supposed to start at scratch for 2026 in 2024. So Ferrari's now going to be 2 or 3 years behind in development. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no matter how good an engineer is, when they leave, they are always replaced. They will be replaced by experienced
Yeah,
people.
and then you
Now,
have a
Ferrari's
2 year lapse.
biggest problem hasn't actually
For
been
example,
the
look at
engine.
Ferrari. Look at Red Bull. Red Bull will get better, but it's going to take 2 years. Hamilton doesn't have 2 years. He's 42 years old. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Ferrari's biggest weakness, I mean, even though they are losing their engineers on the engines, their biggest weakness isn't the engine. Their weaknesses is what they've done with the floor, what they've done with the
Yeah.
back wing, and so on and so forth. But the engine is pretty much okay. Okay, they may lose some competence on that in the short term, but I don't know
Yeah.
how much in the short term it is. And also, they will be bringing in people, and it will affect morale. I think morale at Ferrari is at a rock bottom. I think that Red Bull, because they're still winning races, I don't know how they're managing to do it, because I think their morale should be down. But I think when they're still winning races and getting
I'll
public
answer that question
finishes,
for you in a second.
it
Yeah.
will maintain that morale. So Ferrari's head is dipping, and the clear out, I do think, can be positive. You can be lucky and get some talented engineers from other teams to come inside and support you. And Ferrari has always been there or thereabouts throughout the entire history of motorsport. I don't want to believe that suddenly, because they've had one bad season and they got a couple of engineers leaving, that they're going to go off a cliff after 70 or 80
Okay, so
years of
Khalid, here's the thing.
competitive
Yeah,
motorsport.
so you see it differently from me, Khalid, because what I see is a cancer in Ferrari, which goes as far back as 2022 when they had the fastest car. It's not a bad year. What you're looking at in real time is a decline in performance over the years. And you're also looking at a team which brought in Vettel, and they couldn't win when they brought him in. Now they're bringing Hamilton, and they're having the same problems. They've undermined Leclerc, who's their number one driver. They got rid of Sainz, who improved it. This is a sign of a cancer which cannot go away in a year. They're going to bring in a new group of people who will have to acclimatize. There's no time to acclimatize, because once you fall a year behind in the developmental stage, that's the next 4 years. Now, here's the difference between Red Bull and Ferrari. Red Bull has Verstappen, they have Tsunoda. Those guys have been in the team for a long time. They brought in Lawson, they brought in Hadja. Regardless of the problems, you don't see any infighting amongst those guys at all. None of them talks bad about the team. Nobody says, oh, there's things in the background. And trust me, there are things in the background, but none of them says there's things in the background I can't talk about. Bringing Lewis Hamilton to that team has actually caused a furor within that team of controversy and lack of focus. Would you agree? It's caused a big problem.
Yeah,
and wherever
that's why I'm
Hamilton
saying
goes,
a clear out would help.
no, yeah, but bringing
That's
him
why
in
I'm
there,
saying a clear out would help solve this
I'm
problem.
not trying to hate on Hamilton, but he's the problem because he's a prima donna. Hamilton is a prima donna. Whenever things don't go well, whenever things don't go well, he publicly humiliates his team. Whenever things don't go well, which is this, he did it with McLaren. He did it with Mercedes. He's a great driver. He's talented, but when he doesn't win, he becomes a little bit toxic. He does it. He's not like Verstappen, who's toxic. Verstappen gets toxic and almost kills people on the track, which is bad. But when Lewis Hamilton isn't happy, he actually causes fights within teams. He causes civil wars.
None of them are nice when they lose.
No, yeah, no, but Verstappen never throws his team under the bus. He shouts at them in the paddock when you're not around, but he never publicly humiliates his team. He patted Vasseur on the back and said, "You're too sensitive, Vasseur. No, Vasseur, you're too sensitive. Have a tea." Why? And in the middle of the radio, you're saying, "How come, guys? How come you're not talking?" You're letting everybody see internally what's happening with the team. He's very divisive. And I'm saying this. I'm not saying this to hate on Hamilton, but that's just how he operates when he's not doing well. He will throw you under the bus. When he was with McLaren, people forget all those years when he was throwing the team under the bus and said that they were rubbish, that they need to make a better car when Button beat him, and then he left Mercedes without even giving them notice, which Sainz was backdoored because of Lewis Hamilton. So all I'm saying is that he needs to be quiet, just like Leclerc, and focus on driving.
But if
One
he's
more,
doing
Before
that
one
I go
many
to
year.
years
you,
over
before I go to
there,
you, Mr.
coming
Johnny,
to
one
the
more
end, it's
thing.
not going to change now. He's just
Before
going
I
to
go
do a
to you,
couple
Mr.
more
Johnny.
years and retire like that.
Yeah. Before I continue with you, Johnny, very quickly, the Aston Martin team has problems. I've never heard Alonso in public say anything about them, and he could easily say, "Look at Daddy's son. Daddy's son is rubbish. Look at this team, it's rubbish." He's kept his mouth quiet. Go ahead, Mr. Johnny. Yeah.
I just thought about Hamilton not giving notice. I thought he gave them like it was like a year's notice. Like everybody knew in a
No,
year
no, he told
that he
them at the
was going
beginning of the
to
year, but he should have told them that.
Ferrari.
No, I know what it is. He called. He didn't tell them until after he had already agreed with Ferrari. You
I
see what I'm
think if
saying?
Senna was in this time, he'd have done the same thing if
Okay,
he had the same kind of era
So what he did
with
was he
social
called
media.
Ferrari and said, "I'm ready to join," and he did behind Toto's back. You're not supposed to do that. It's just, and that's what, and also Ferrari told Sainz,
well,
"Oh, we're not going to sign your contract now. We'll do it later in the year." And Sainz said he didn't know. The reason Ferrari told him that is because they were going to backdoor Sainz. And can you imagine before a race you find out that you're going to be kicked off your team at the beginning of the season, and there was no warning of it, and they had been talking to Hamilton for weeks, and they didn't tell Sainz, and they were telling Sainz, "Don't worry,
Well,
we're not
that's
going to
all
sign today. We're
business.
going to sign later because we need to focus on race." So Hamilton and Ferrari deserve each other. Very unloyal. Both sides are unloyal. Go ahead, Mr. Johnny. Yeah. Disloyal. Ebon, disloyal, unloyal. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, man.
The beer is
Yeah,
making
well,
me passionate.
whatever they do
Maybe I should be a Ferrari. I'm passionate.
next year, they just have to just try next year. I don't know what's gonna, but for sure, Hamilton for him, he's on his money. He has his for him money, no problem. He has a very good
Oh yeah,
contract.
yeah,
That's for him. He has in he's
yeah.
he's even any more than Verstappen even self. Who is the world champion like that.
Oh yeah,
So
he's making my money. Yeah. He's a
yeah,
business.
but they better. But I wonder if they're going to be horrible next year. Then it's really going to be brutal next year. I mean,
Oh
between
yeah,
Hamilton and
and the team. It's
and
going to get
Ferrari.
ugly. It's going to get ugly, especially for and see Leclerc. He's stuck on that team. That guy's supposed to be a world champion by now. He's stuck on that. That's just crazy. And you know what I hear? I hear that Hamilton is already planning with Verstappen to buy a MotoGP team. It's like Hamilton does too much. He does fashion. He does Black Lives Matter. He has all these projects. Now he wants to buy a team. You want to be an owner of an F1 team when you're in the middle of a battle for your eighth title. Too many distractions. There's a joke I made. So Hamilton and Verstappen say we're going to buy a team. Yeah, Verstappen said, "Yeah, you handle the paperwork. I'm doing sim work, but you handle the paperwork, Hamilton. Great job." You understand what I'm trying to say? But I think what you're saying is that he's given
Wow.
up. Maybe he's given up, and maybe he's just enjoying his last year with money. Is that what you're trying to say, Johnny? Yeah.
Well, given up, there's nothing. He just wanted that his last. Actually, he was looking. Do I say he was looking for his last? Can you hear that?
Hoorah! Yeah.
Let me show
What
you.
is that?
He was looking for his last. His
His last run.
eighth win. Last
Yeah.
win, and that's what Ferrari was supposed to do. But they messed up. They over tweaked the car again too, and then so everything's all going back. So for him, money no problem, but that last win, that's probably never going to come. Probably never going to come.
He has a slight chance if everything is even next year, but I don't see it happening. If all the cars are even next year, Verstappen will win because Verstappen doesn't have anybody taking points from him. Yeah.
It's like trying to get that high, chasing that high, you want to get one more time, that one more time. That's how it is for
and that should never happen.
Hamilton.
After
exactly,
the 15th line,
it never happen.
After the 15th line of cocaine is not disabled, too.
That's it never happen. And then you're gonna go chasing it. So
yeah, last out, Kule. Do you think Hamilton and Verstappen will make good partners for a team? F1 is fucked up.
I think Kule dropped off. Oh, it dropped off a bit. It's back.
Okay. All right, Kule. Last thoughts on the Hamilton. And then we're going to go to another subject. But the last thoughts on this Ferrari saga and them losing the engineers. Then we'll go to the next topic. Yeah.
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
I was just frozen. It just unfroze. You guys didn't notice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. We're going to move on to the